Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. You know that,
I
and I know that.
I agree with you, but
Y'all,
that's
you see
that's
what
not.
happened in that? You see what happened in that penitentiary?
Hey, me and you
I'm
be on
just
the same. Me and you be on the same plan, same board when it comes to the alphabet people. So you ain't gonna get no
yeah.
argument
So
from me behind that. That boy say he's striving on YouTube. We not going Facebook no more. Right on.
Oh, you wasn't here last week. That's what. No, she was. You wasn't visual. We was on YouTube last week.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah. I was
introduce
on my
me.
phone.
I was about to introduce the show. If y'all just be quiet for like 2 seconds.
Introduce me. I'm David Ruffin. These are the Temptations.
Yeah, you gonna be the day river we kick out and get you gonna get Sean thrown out the limo.
Hey, we gonna be in somebody's house. I got 2 tickets to the show.
Right. Well, I guess I ain't gonna be there. Damn, I missed it.
Welcome to another episode of a Better Understanding Podcast, where our slogan is: "If you listen to me, you move forward in life."
That's a terrible
Uh,
slogan.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
terrible.
it's because it don't apply to y'all.
Yeah. That's terrible.
Hey, we already know. Me and LJ agree say if you don't listen to me, you stupid.
Man. But man, we talk about anything under the sun: sports, politics, whatever you think of. And today, we're gonna talk about a little bit of sports, and we're gonna talk about some controversial decisions made by schools. I kind of want to start with that. So there was 2 incidents that happened with Black students. One had something to do with the student's hair. The other one, which is what I want to get into first, is in Rochester. There was allegedly a white teacher that uh, was trying to give a history lesson in class about slavery, and the history lesson was that the students um, had to pick cotton seeds out of cotton and put on handcuffs to be taught about slavery. I think the interesting thing is that allegedly this teacher's white and she allowed the white students to opt out if they wanted to, but if they wouldn't have, I shouldn't say she, because I don't know if it was a she.
See,
Let's see, okay, but he wouldn't allow the Black students to opt out of participation. I think that's wild. What do y'all think about this situation? LJ, you could go.
man, he muted. I'll say I'll give
Oh,
my quick
okay.
opinion. Yeah, I think I agree. It's wild, man. And something needs to happen to it. You can't tell Black students that they can't opt out of something, but you allow white students to do so. Then I was reading the article. It was saying that one of the students made the comment that they couldn't get out. Go ahead, LJ. Give me a quick second, man.
Me, man, I don't want to say obviously. I couldn't. Yeah, I would normally say obviously, but clearly everybody don't think this is obviously wrong. I think. I would say like I don't like to advocate for people to get fired, right? But I think at some point, as teachers across America keep doing stuff like this, I mean, this is not handcuffing people and stuff, handcuffing students or forcing them to handcuff and pick cotton and stuff like that. But as teachers across, as we keep hearing this anecdotally across the United States, as this stuff keeps happening, I mean, at some point they're gonna have to start firing teachers and potentially start banning them from being a teacher for a specific amount of time, for a certain amount of time, whether it's a lifelong ban, um, or whatever, because the sensitivity training or whatever it is called that they're having these people potentially do or being suspended is clearly not enough. I mean, now I'm not saying that this guy's a repeat offender, but I mean, like there's certain things to me that go without saying. You know what I mean? Like you would never have like if you were a health teacher, you would not have a female student reenact somebody being raped to show them like what you know what I mean? Like that would you would just be like, that doesn't make any sense. Like who would do that? That's stupid. And it's the same thing with stuff like this. Like who would do that? That's stupid. And so no, I think it's beyond wrong. I think to me as a Black parent, I would feel like it's humiliating to my kids, it's demeaning to my kids, it's racist, it does, like I can't think of any justification that a teacher could give, excuse me, um, to have students, in particular Black students, do something like this. And I can't even think of why you would have any students do anything like this. Maybe you got to talk about slavery because it's part of history, but reenactments, not really necessary. You know, the other thing, and I think this will tie into the next thing that we're going to talk about too, is I think you have things like this happen because you have a lack of diversity in leadership in a lot of places, right? You have a lack of diversity, meaning like you have a bunch of white people in the leadership, and a lot of times white people are tone deaf. I mean, and I say that because we've seen it. We've seen it when you see to these schools and they'll get to the superintendent and the principal and everybody swear to God that I didn't think this would be a big idea. Or now that I look at it this way. But if you have some diversity within your leadership, then you might have that one Black person say, you know what, this guy, it's kind of offensive. Like, you know, you probably could get your point across in terms of whatever the purpose of this lesson is without handcuffing students and making them pick cotton or whatever it may be. So I think, you know, that sometimes at some point school districts across America are going to have to start laying in some pretty harsh punishments for things like this. And hopefully people start to understand the importance of having diversity in your leadership in these organizations to avoid stuff like this happening. I'm going to point to an incident that's going on here in Indiana, where a school, they have I think their mascot is called the Indians. It may be a specific type.
That's what that was. Is that where like they
yeah
the dance that was in Indiana?
Yeah. It's here in Indiana. Matter of fact, the Coast training camp used to be out there before they moved. I think they moved a couple summers ago. But anyways, and like you still see people who say, well, I just don't understand. How could Native American, this is not offensive. And that's where I'm talking about that diversity in leadership, because clearly there's enough white people in America who still don't understand that you don't get to dictate what's offensive to somebody else. It's just point blank period. But if you have some diversity in your leadership, then maybe as a Black person, I'm not Native American, but in my mind, because, you know, I think about discrimination and stuff like that, I may be like, well, damn, you think Native Americans might be offended by this? And then somebody might say, hold on, let's either check with the Native American community, or, you know what, let's not even bother. There's another way that we can go about getting that whatever message that we're trying to get across that could that would not put us in a situation where we're in, where we got to halt stuff, or we got to make Newsweek, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a question kind of to piggyback off what he said, because when he was talking about having that one person to include in leadership. So there's a documentary on Netflix about Abercrombie and Fitch, right? And they was talking about their hiring practices and their staffing practices. So basically Abercrombie and Fitch was like, if you're not, you know, white and attractive looking, you're not working, you're not getting hired. And if you somehow get past that and you get hired, you're not really getting hours to represent the store. But there would be people like, you know, they'll come out with, they had graphic tees, and some of the things would be, you know, controversial to say the least. And that, like, they were talking to one Asian person, and she was like, yeah, I'm in that meeting, but if I'm the only one that's gonna say no, you know, or like this might be offensive, for one, I might not be in that meeting very long. You know, they might remove me and stuff like that. So do you think having one person from a different culture would help in leadership?
Me personally,
no.
Go ahead.
Dios.
No, I would say no, based off that same exact reason that the person said. They're going to get outvoted, or they're going to get removed at some point. They're not going to just keep you in there to always go against it if that's what they do. And even if they do, you're the token. And like you said, they're going to just outvote you if they don't fire you. They just won't never listen to you, or they'll start having meetings without you. So yeah, no one, I think as best as you can, it should be 50-50 or the predominant. Well, I don't necessarily want to just say the predominant in the area because it can be anything. I would say take the makeup, if we're going back to the schools, take the makeup of your school and you should have at least enough people to equally base around the breakdown of the school,
The
the demographic of the
demographics.
school.
Mm.
Right. So if it's basically 33% each direction, I think your board should be the same way. That way you get it for the most part an equal amount of voices in that room.
So what about the schools that are like 95+% white?
I mean, it's gonna be hard because at that point, then your board is gonna reflect that.
I
And
think
they're
their
gonna,
board's probably already reflecting that.
of course, that's what I'm saying. The board's gonna reflect that. Your
I
board's
believe
gonna
this being
reflect,
honest.
and the board is probably gonna be 100% on white. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have these situations to where Asians, blacks, Hispanics, all over, they're gonna get left out and they're gonna get seen something that's gonna I'm having a brain fart this morning. You're just gonna be just disrespected at some point by something they do or say.
Can I ask you a question? Because Dios was about to say it and he kind of stopped himself. It's not like it sounded like he was about to say like Asian American.
I
Right.
was.
Do y'all like that? Like African American, Asian American, Mexican American. Y'all like those terms, or it doesn't bother y'all? Because I find it funny that we put that in front of everything, and then we never say white American or Caucasian American, anything like that.
For me, it doesn't necessarily bother me because it depends. Like, say Asian American, right? If your parents, or I say 1 or 2 generations was born actually in Asia, of Asian descent, and you were just born American, I mean, you can just say you're American or you can say Asian American. It's your preference, actually. So that part don't bother me. African American, I would think that would only refer to people whose parents or grandparents were born in Africa. So like for me, I won't necessarily say I'm African American because nobody in my lineage that I know of that I've been around to see or talk to was born in Africa. And my great grandmother just passed a year ago. She's born in 1920. She's born right here in the country towns of Louisiana. So nobody I know, I couldn't even say how far back that anybody was from Africa in my family. So I don't necessarily just say I'm African American. I'm black. That's what I go with. I'm a full-blooded American. That's what I am.
Yeah, I'm not with it, man. I think it should just be American. But it is what it is. But I want to go back to what Dios was saying about the people in the boardrooms and the administration and stuff like that, if I may. I think if you, I mean, I look at it and I understand what Malcolm and Dios were getting at about in terms of like not everybody is going to be comfortable speaking up if they're the only minority in a board meeting, whether it's a school board or whether it's like some sort of leadership committee at a school, whether you're an assistant principal or stuff like that, because, you know, people are concerned, rightfully so, about losing their jobs, you know, and stuff like that, if they speak up against this type of stuff. But I think there is some laws out there that can help protect you, I believe. I'm not 100% certain. If we could ever get Greg to come on here like he's supposed to be, we might be able to get some legal questions answered about the whistleblower law, or the protections offered to a whistleblower under the Whistleblower Law Act, whatever it's called, that could potentially help. The other thing I would say is, this is just my personal opinion, if you're not willing to step up and say something, then to me, you should never complain. Like if you're in a board meeting and you're a minority, whether it's a leadership committee at a school or like the school board or something like that, and you hear something that's happening that's racist or could potentially be viewed as being racist or racially insensitive, etc., and you say nothing, then when it happens, you should say nothing. To me, you can't. I don't want to hear it. That's just me. I don't want you to play both sides of the fence. Meaning, if you're not gonna ever stand up for it, then don't pile on when everybody else got your back. Oh yeah. They should have said that. But you know what I'm saying? Stand up in the meeting if you feel that's the right thing. You know what I mean? And part of it is you may not be the right person for that position if you're not gonna stand up for things like that in the meeting. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I think diversity in leadership will help. I mean, it won't prevent it because people are gonna be people and people are gonna do what they do. But I think it can definitely help some of these things. And at a minimum, I feel like having some diversity in leadership can help with providing a perspective of someone outside of white culture. And if you have people who don't want to listen, then in my opinion, they're part of the problem in terms of not being willing and understanding that as a white person in America, you don't know what it's like to be a minority. So you don't have the perspective or the perception of a minority. So you can't tell a minority what is and what isn't offensive. Just like I can't tell a Native American what's offensive to them because I'm not Native American, but I can tell you what's offensive to a Black person or what may be offensive to the average Black person. I can't speak for every one of us, but I could give you a general good idea. And if you're in a meeting and you give that and they decide not to take it and they go, and do it anyway, you can go out in the meeting and say, hey, they lying. But that's just my thought, man.
I got you. Kind of tying into that.
Real quick before you jump to the next one on that one. They said that teacher's been there 20 years, right? Do y'all think this was? Yeah, I read. They say he's been a teacher for 20 years. Do y'all think this is the first time he's done this?
No, because they talked about it in the article that the cotton thing and the handcuff thing were two separate instances.
Oh, I thought they said it was the same incident.
Okay. From based off what I read, it was two separate things.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So, but kind of tying into that, we didn't talk about it off air, but we just, we showed the thing about the kid with the hair. Apparently there's two instances in Texas like that. One in Troy ISD and one in East Bernard ISD. So one is involving a high schooler. He has, I'm gonna say locks, because apparently dreadlocks is like a not so nice term. Anyway, and the other one has braids. The other one's 11-year-old. He can't go to school at all. But the one with the locks, his mom decided to homeschool him now. And she's been homeschooling him for a few weeks. I think it's crazy that people are like, a kid can't go to school because of his hair. And it's not, well, to me, it's not distracting. I don't know what y'all take on.
I have multiple things. Like, I'm with you. I don't think it's distracting. I don't understand how a kid with long hair would be distracting, but to say a white kid can come to school with pink hair or purple hair, and that's not distracting. That's weird to me. Now, on the other flip side to that, it always trips me out that when this stuff like this happens, you have those who have always a connection to our ancestors. Just like I was saying just a minute ago, like, you have no connection to anybody being from Africa. Stop it. Oh, it's part of our identity. It's not part of your identity. It's your hair. Now, I'm not saying that you should make them cut their hair. That should be a choice. But to reach and say it's a connection to your ancestors and all this, you don't know nobody that was from Africa. Most of them. I'm not gonna say everybody. I can't speak for everybody, but most people don't.
I was reading the article and it said that y'all can help me with this because I didn't understand the angle of it, but she filed for a religious exemption.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell a religious exemption got to do with her. I look at it like this, man. When it comes to when it comes to hair, to me, it had the the whatever the rule is in your student handbook or whatever, it has to be something that equally applies regardless of race in your school. You know what I'm saying? So you can, like, for example, so like if
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can it also should it also equally apply to sex? That makes sense.
It do, but I was
No,
it do, but I would say no, it shouldn't apply.
Yeah, it should. I mean, and I think me and Dios could probably go back to our military days. A woman can't get a man to a certain extent has to have his hair like this. To some, Dios is fine, but you can't. What is it, like 3 inches or something like that? Dios all the way around, something like that.
I believe so.
It's not very high, but like there's some haircuts in the military that a man cannot wear that a woman can wear. So I don't think it applies equally to men and women because women's hairstyles are different. There are reasons that women put their hair in those braids, the really long braids and stuff like that. That men don't do. But so what I'm saying is, like, for example, if you tell a black male, hey, you can't wear dreadlocks or whatever, locks or twists, whatever they call them, or you equally saying that, hey, as a white male or a male who has, I don't know what kind of hair it is called, but you can't wear a bun or you can't put your hair in a ponytail. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that would be equally applying it based on culture across the board. As opposed, you know what I'm saying? If you're going to say like, hey, instead of just saying you can't have locks or whatever, you can just make this the mandatory hairstyle. Hey, you can't have your hair with this much height, this much length, blah, 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 if you're a male or if you're a female. That way it takes out the racial implications. Because then once you get into like saying, oh, well, you can't have locks, then yes, I would, as a parent, I would say that, hey, well, why, are you allowing X, Y, and Z type of haircuts for white males? Well, that's like if you let a white male wear long hair down to their shoulders, and you tell me as a principal or somebody, well, that's culturally appropriate, then I, as a black parent, would tell you, hey, well, how you gonna tell me as a non-black person? And maybe it's a black principal, I don't know. But I would tell you that I feel like that's culturally appropriate for my black race. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think you get into trouble when you start trying to legislate like that and start to like maybe say specific hairdos as opposed to giving just general guidelines and say, hey, either your hair fits into this guideline or it don't. It don't matter if you black, white, Hispanic, Creole, Mexican, whatever. Either it fits into this or it doesn't. And it would eliminate, that's just me. That's just my thought.
So this is this article CNN.
I was going to read the same thing.
I was like, so technically, the student handbook is no longer on their website because they took it down. But it says the student handbook policy on hair is a boy's hair may not extend below the eyebrows, below the top of the ears, or below a conventional stand-up shirt collar. It must not be more than 1 inch difference in the length of the hair on the side to the length of the hair on the top.
Well, his mama could kick rocks. Yeah. His mama could kick rocks.
And it even goes on because like they try to mention the braids and they do specify, but they also said this includes basically shaved sides, mullets, braided hair, or cornrows. So they listed out. So hey, how the white people used to rock the mullets, small on the side, long in the back. Nope, can't do that.
Yeah, it's like this includes but not limited to tall hairstyles, side swept bang styles, and long hair dangling over shaved sides or shaved back of the head. Then this what Dio said. This also includes mullets and mullets in the making. Braided hair or cornrows will not be allowed. No extreme in hairstyles.
Yeah. So his mama gonna have to kick rocks because it sounds to me like, based on what I'm hearing there, like they trying to formulate a policy that said, hey, we just want your shit basic. No matter what race she is, you just need to be basic. Something like this, something like what Dio's got. We don't need all that fancy hairdo. So no, that to me don't sound like it got nothing to do with being racist. Yeah, you just want your son. Yeah. Listen, ma'am. You don't get to dictate the rule just because you feel like it's your ancestry. Yeah, nah, the world don't work like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, nah, you better cut that baby hair.
I
Nah,
wasn't trying
but
to make it sound like they were being racist. I was just talking about like just the like hair policy in general, because I believe that Texas, not Texas, Supreme Court maybe just passed a law called the Crown Act or something like that. Whereas,
yeah, that was something that it passed back in. It passed in 19 back in California, I believe.
yeah, and I think more
Um,
states are starting now.
and then it says like maybe a dozen has already adopted it to a certain extent.
Mhm.
But Texas isn't one of them. Um, they had a couple cases where they allowed a couple people in Texas, according to the this article, to get away with not having to cut their hair and stuff like that. But I
Y'all
want to
remember
know,
that one
man.
where that dude had to cut his hair at the wrestling match?
Yeah, that
Man, that
one.
was that's embarrassing.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. They had the one that was here in Texas where the kid had to cut his hair just to graduate, to
Oh
walk across the
yeah.
stage. And then his cousin was another had the same incident about his hair as well. But yeah, the Crown Act was passed by the House of Representatives. Uh,
I can tell y'all what it say. The bill, this is what CNN said, the bill would being considered, this is 2020, so I don't know if you said it already passed, so this is what it would have said. The bill being considered in Congress would ban race-based hair discrimination in employment and for those participating in federally assisted programs, housing programs, and public accommodations. I don't know, man. I just think as long as your policy, as long as your school policy bans what I would call non-basic hairdos and tries as best as possible to include all races within that. I think you know what I mean? Like if you can't wear braids to school, man, you just can't wear braids to school. And I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't be able to wear braids to school. These are public schools, right?
I believe so.
So yeah.
Yeah, I ain't never known public school had hair policies. Well, I guess they will within
I know
reason.
we had them when I was in school for sure.
But yeah, man, I mean, if I could understand this lady's complaint if she was saying, hey, they letting another race do their hair however they want to, and they just telling my black son, he can't wear his hair like
It
this.
may be the case though.
It may be, but I'm just saying that
That's
does
not
not
what the handbook says. Yeah.
based on what the handbook says. So I mean, if that's happening, that's something different. But if she's just saying, well, I think I want my son to be able to wear his hair like this because of X, Y, and Z, ma'am, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to tell your ass. I'm sorry to tell you, you're gonna have to tell it because yeah. What if you got some kids who family worship the devil and they want to wear their hair all spiky and all that? Now you can't, yeah. So see what I'm saying? That's why I say if you're gonna have it, you just gotta have something basic and bland that applies to everybody. Ma'am, I'm sorry. Unless you're telling me that they letting everybody else in another race do their hair whatever kind of way they want to, I ain't with you. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't think you should they should tell people to cut their hair off, man. If they want braids, I mean, I don't understand what's so distracting about it, but to a certain extent, I understand what Adair is saying. I kind of agree. If it's basic around the board, it's basic around the board. But if a kid has been having his hair long for a certain amount of time, that he should
Yeah,
not
why
have
the
to cut
issue
it
now?
just
Yeah,
why
why
the
is
issue
the
now?
issue now?
Well,
I don't know.
supposedly he's from Ohio. They
Yeah,
moved
I
to
don't know
here.
how long he been there. Yeah,
Well, they said he moved, I want to say last year or this year. Let's see, where did it go? Yeah, he just moved here in February. That's crazy, but okay,
and
yeah.
Ladarius could. All y'all Midwestern people bring me y'all problems down here. Stay in the Midwest. Speaking of, so the NFL draft was this weekend, and it was supposedly a weaker by quote unquote draft experts. It was supposedly a weaker NFL draft. So, do you think, Dios? Do you think your team did enough to help itself in the draft?
Honestly, man, I didn't even watch not one bit of the draft. I had so much other stuff going on, but I know they gave us a C grade, especially on our first round pick. I did see the name of the gentleman on the first round pick. Well, not the name. He plays tackle. He supposed to be a project, and I don't think that's something you want to do in first round. Take a project tackle. They said he was used to he did a lot of holding, which is a problem we had last year. He did a couple
I would
false
say,
starts.
I would say there was somebody telling me y'all let go of Lyle Collins, and he was called for the most holding penalties last year in the NFL. I don't know
I
how
don't
true
know
that
if he
is, but
was,
let,
but I
let
know we
me.
got a lot of false starts from they on kind of
And then they said the person y'all drafted led college football in holding penalties.
he did. That's what I'm saying. He was known for doing a lot of holding, man. In this, oh man,
That's hilarious.
that's crazy. So you gonna let go of something to replace it with the exact same thing. Let's see. So I'm trying to pull up on that draft picks.
But I will say, man, I feel like I don't follow y'all like that, but like I feel like y'all haven't done anything this offseason to be better.
Off season, no, but I will say, just based off the positions we drafted, I'm looking at real quick. We addressed some of the things we needed. So, like, okay, in the first round, of course, we took the offensive tackle out of from Tulsa. He's they used to say he's a swing. So I don't know. We're gonna see how he does, but we did need to tackle. Second round, we took a defensive end, which we're gonna need to fulfill. I mean, we did bring in, I want to say Fowler, I believe we brought in.
Okay.
Say again.
I said, oh yeah, I did. I didn't know that.
Yeah, we brought him in. So he's probably going to be the heads up for the starter for to replace Randy Gregory. But we drafted a defensive end who could potentially do the same. We drafted a receiver out of South Alabama in third round. Fourth, we took a tight end. Not sure why, but we did. Fifth, we took another tackle, and we had 3 picks in the fifth round. So we took a tackle. Yeah, we took a tackle. We took a cornerback from Fresno State, and we took inside linebacker from LSU, Clark. Oh, damn, we had a fifth. Then we had a fourth in the fifth round. We took a defensive tackle from Arkansas in the fifth round too.
Lord.
Yeah, we had 4 picks in the fifth round. Then the sixth round, we took a linebacker from Oklahoma State. So outside of secondary, well, safety, we addressed everything we need. It seems like, at least attempted to. Now, how these players are going to pan out, we don't know. It's here to see, but that first round pick, I'm looking at shaky, especially since he's known for getting a lot of penalties. That's not something I would have went to, but I'm gonna be hopeful. It's my team. I'm gonna ride with it, especially since I didn't watch the draft, and I don't know who was left on the board when we did draft because we always miss some big talent that's just known for us.
I feel like y'all been going for the big talent the last couple of years.
We've been for the bigger names. I would say, well, I can't even say that because the last one I can really let's see.
What, Van Der Esch
Yeah,
is probably the last
I would
one.
say CD was probably the biggest one I could think of. Last year we took Parsons, but that was basically he fell in our lap.
Man, you can say CD fell in your lap too. Because I think a lot of people thought CD Lamb would be gone before then.
Yeah,
It helped that Carolina and somebody else drafted a corner too, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm a ride with it. I'm gonna be a fan. I'm not gonna, you know me. I'm never say, oh, we finna go to the Super Bowl. I'm not doing that. But as of right now, based off how the all season went, I think we're in position to be number 2 in our division. I think Philly has made a lot of moves to be the favorite in our division, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Now,
Philly still don't have that one position.
I think that the one thing that's hurting them right now is a guaranteed QB. That's the thing to me. But they've made all the moves to be the favorite in the division. If it's not them, I believe it's us. Why?
Anyway,
Why?
anyway, yeah, I didn't really watch past the first round. But it was a lot of trades made. Like, I don't think a lot of people, based off like the activity in the draft, I don't think a lot of people, like a lot of GMs, like thought there was a lot of top end talent in the draft, like, you know, difference makers, or I should say.
Uh,
But I don't know. I think
what do you think
I'm
about
like,
the AJ Brown trade?
so I don't even know the full details. I know.
From what
Did
I saw,
Philly
they
give
traded him for a first and a third.
Is that what it was?
That's what I saw.
You know what's crazy? I don't know how good AJ Brown is.
He's their leading receiver for the past couple years.
Yeah, but like, is he good? Is he very good? Or is he
Well, they
great?
traded him, and they turned around and paid him. They gave him $100 million.
But that, I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe it's his quarterback. Like, maybe it's the situation he was in. Like, when I look at Devontae Adams, I'm like, yeah, he's great, right? Look at D Hop. Yeah, he's great.
I think he's
Like, even Cooper Kupp, you like, is he great? Is he good?
no,
Is he
Cubs
very
not
good?
great, but he's very good. He's not great, but he's very good. He's very good. I would say he's probably. I don't know if it's the system that he's in and how he is. Well, no. Well, yeah, no. It could be how him and the quarterback got along because his numbers wasn't this big last year like it was previous
Yeah,
year,
he was
but they're
hurt.
still good. Brown's good. He's a big body. He's good. He's not. I think I would put him as I would say he's probably a top 20 receiver in the league, if not top 15.
But you don't think he's top 10?
Possibly not top 10. Because I'm pretty sure we can think of 10 receivers that we think we better, maybe.
Okay.
If he's not, he's right. If he's right there. He's knocking at the door. I would say that. He's knocking at that door. If he's not.
You're not high on Cleveland Browns top receiver, right? You're not that high on him, right?
With Cooper,
Yeah.
do I think he's top 10? No. He's definitely not top 10. And I'm not saying that because he traded teams. Y'all know how I felt about him last year.
That's what I was about to say. That's what
I didn't put him top 10 then when he's with us. But Cooper is definitely a top. I think he's a top 20 receiver. Top 10 though. My main neck or problem with Cooper was always that he just seemed like he didn't have the dog in me. He would ask to come out the games in crucial times. He would not show up. Sometimes he was more so just like, okay, if I'm out there and open, throw me the ball. If not, oh well. It's just how I've always felt about him. But I'm curious to see what Tennessee's trying to do by getting rid of that guy, especially with Julio leaving. So you pretty much don't have any receivers. You're basically going back and telling the defenses, like, hey, yeah, we giving the ball to Derrick Henry. We know he coming off the surgery, but yeah, he getting the ball and y'all stop. It don't look well. But they did draft a quarterback too, so they could be moving on.
So the Jets drafted 3 players in the first round. Anybody think they're gonna be any good next year? Like, not those players in particular, but the Jets.
So I don't think that's enough to make them good. They're not franchise changing players coming in that we know for a fact they franchise.
I want somebody on this podcast to tell me why Zach Wilson is the future.
Hold on now, no hate on Zach Wilson.
Come on.
Yeah, I like Zach Wilson. Now he ain't really. I like him coming out of college. Now I will tell you, he had a little bit of flashes, and he had a lot of bad flashes too. But I think I think he got the arm strength. I like his playmaking ability. But it remains to be seen if that translates to consistently at the NFL level. That's me. I'm a Zach Wilson guy. So I think he'll be fine. I'm not saying I don't know that he'll end up where some of these other guys are. I'm not saying he's going to end up being a top 5 quarterback, but a top 10 quarterback. You know, and it's hard. It's going to be hard to be top 5 in the NFL for a while. If these young bucks that's been playing these last 4 or 5 years, if them young puppies, I mean, these young dogs continue on their path with. I mean, Mahomes is Mahomes, but he only been in the NFL. He been in the NFL what less than 5 years, I believe.
4 or 5 years, yeah.
You got him, Herbert, Burrow. I know I'm missing some folks. I
Josh
ain't even talking
Allen.
about the old heads like Aaron
Josh
Rodgers.
Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen. So it's gonna be hard for a young dude to come in and crack that top 5 market. And them all 4 young dudes. I ain't even talked about Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. It's probably I know I'm missing folks, but so
And you still got
Kirk
mid-tier
Cousins.
people like Dak and Deshaun if we ever see him play again.
man, I don't bring up Dak in that conversation. That's disrespectful.
First of all, we're not gonna
Top
do this.
10?
We're
No,
not
he
gonna do
said
this.
mid-tier.
I said
Oh,
mid-tier.
mid-tier. I'm sorry, my bad. I thought you. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, I got you. But I mean, you can put Dak in there.
KC.
Yeah,
KC
I mean,
top 10 though.
who?
KC.
Kansas City.
No, continue. Continue what you said. We're not gonna even play with that one.
Kirk Cousins.
That boy is not top 10 in nothing. But I'm looking at the draft picks for the Jets, man. They addressed a lot of issues they were having. I just don't know if it's enough to make them good. Like you said,
Did they get a receiver?
yeah,
I
they
feel
dropped
like they did.
number 10 overall. They drafted Garrett Wilson at Ohio State.
Man, I
They
don't
took
know,
him
man.
first round, and they took an edge rush out of Florida State, Jermaine Johnson the second.
Yeah.
Second round, they drafted the running back from Iowa State, Brees Hall. Yeah. Third round, they took a tight end from Ohio State.
Rucker.
Yep. And they had 2 fourth rounders. And they drafted an offensive tackle from Louisiana Lafayette, Max Mitchell, and they took Michael Clemens, edge rush from A&M. So they addressed a lot of issues.
I know Gary Wilson and Chris Olave were very good in college. I have a feeling Chris Olave would be better in the NFL, but I think the best receiver in the draft was Jameson Williams. It's just my gut feeling.
I got a question for y'all.
Mm.
I sort of know the answer, but like you said, I
Lose
have
him
my
or
own
lost
version of
me?
the answer. Huh?
I think it's me. Okay.
Oh yeah, you frozen. Well, you can hear your voice.
Yeah, it's
but
me
you
that froze. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
What do y'all think about draft grades that these different media outlets give after the day of the draft? Well, not the day of the draft. Sometimes it is the day of the draft, but within 48 hours or so of the completion of the totality of the NFL draft.
So I'll answer that question, but I'm also give you like a prelude to that. I think it's funny how ESPN promotes like Mel Kiper, Ty Mache, like how they promote their pre-draft and like as gospel. Like these people have never been a talent evaluator. They've never held a front office job in like NFL team organization or anything like that. I say that because I was watching the draft and I think it was the Minnesota picked the offensive line. And Louis Riddick and another person, I can't remember who it was, were talking about the pick. And obviously, Louis Riddick has been a GM before, stuff like that. And the other person has been in front office too. I don't remember who it was. And they was talking about how they love that player and what he does well and, how good he can be. And then Mel Kiper came right behind both of them and was like, I think you guys are completely off about this guy. I didn't see this and I didn't see that. I'm like, it's okay to have an opinion, but like, how do you think you know more about these people that got paid to do this versus you caught a job at ESPN to just be a talking person? I don't know. I find it crazy, but I don't know how you can grade somebody and you ain't never seen them play a down of football in the NFL. It's throw to me.
Look at tweet. I thought I saw a ghost. Your background
But,
kind of making it a little hokey. Like
But
you do
like,
sort
I
of look
know.
like a ghost a little bit.
so I
It
would give
do
you,
a little bit. It really do.
Yeah.
I don't know
Maybe it's
why I
like the
look
sunlight that's coming through your window or something. You do kind of look like a ghost.
Yeah, I
and
do. It's
and
faded out a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't
like,
like
so I'll give
that.
you an example, like the Vikings traded their first round pick. They traded number 12, right? They traded the number 12 overall for Detroit's 32, 34, and something else. And people were like killing them because they was like, oh, you didn't get enough value back for that pick, and you traded with a division rival. Now this dude is if he's any good, he's gonna be terrorizing y'all for the next 10 years or whatever. Like, one, how you know what value, like they haven't picked yet, so you don't know what kind of value they're going to get out of the players they pick. And two, the GM said this too. He's like, yeah, but they got to play us too. Like, we have to play the Detroit Lions, but the Detroit Lions also have to play us, and we feel good about our guys too. I just think it's funny how people like have such strong takes about the draft, and all the draft is a lottery ticket, and you just hoping that lottery ticket cash in, basically.
Yeah, these fools is idiots. I think draft grades are stupid. I think the only time you can give a draft grade. I think really you have to wait for an actual draft grade on the
Probably 2
class.
years.
You got to wait 3 years.
Yeah.
I think you can give an initial draft grade after the first year because there's going to and you probably would not know this without necessarily being in the organization. But there's going to be like for example, a team may be expected, hey, if I draft this guy in the first round, he's going to be a starter. Or maybe he's not a starter, but he's going to play maybe a certain percentage of the snaps based on what position he plays and stuff like that. So you may be able to say, hey, based on where these guys are drafted and what maybe that team expected from them, we can give them an A, B, or C after their first year because this is kind of what they were expecting to get these guys from these guys the first year. Or if you get a team that cuts a third round pick and they don't even make the team, that's probably not a good draft pick. If they cut them after the first year and you're a third round draft pick, those are guys you're expecting to be able to make your team and be able to contribute. But I think you got to get 3 years before you can actually grade a draft. And I know that they do these draft grades immediately to get people to click on and read these websites, to get people to tune into these shows and to get people to listen to these podcasts and stuff like that. I know why they do it. And really most of the people who do it are people who, in my opinion, don't have the qualifications to do it. It's like journalists.
So
I write for a newspaper and I write about sports. So I'm gonna listen, man. You don't know.
Like
neither here nor there, man. I get upset about it.
They asked Robert Saleh, which is the Jets head coach, about I don't know if they asked him when he would grade his first round draft or whatever because they had 3 first round picks. He was like, "That's for y'all." He said, "I've been in places where I think," he said, like they were mocked. On average, they were mocked like a D grade in the draft, and that draft included Bruce Irvin, Bobby Wagner, and Russell Wilson. But they got a D grade for that draft. You know what I'm saying? And 2 of them people are Hall of Famers, more than likely.
You're right. I will be a Hall of Famer. I agree with you. On 4, 3, 2, 1. I know quarterbacks ain't go early in the draft.
I think that was surprising. Only one went first round, and then it took forever for the second one to come out.
Yeah. I don't even think it should be surprised though.
Usually teams reach for a quarterback. Usually.
Well, yes, I agree with you.
I wouldn't even say reach because I don't know, where they rank
based on what experts,
organization. Yeah, basically. Yeah.
What people are saying. I mean, I would agree with you, but I would say I don't even think it matters because if you look at the history, what history has told you, drafting a quarterback number 1 overall is probably the greatest indicator that they won't be the best quarterback in that draft. That's what history appears to have shown. If you're the first, especially if you're the number 1 overall pick, you're probably not going to be the best quarterback in that draft.
I think I saw
how many times you think that
but maybe
number 1?
I think they saw a statistic where the second overall selection has been much better than the first overall selection, like as far as careers go.
Yeah, it don't
How
work
many
out
times
very
you think
often.
the first quarterback was the best quarterback in that draft?
Peyton
How many
Manning.
It's only been a handful. From what I mean, yeah, this is just based on like,
Was John Elway number one?
Yeah,
hell, I don't know.
I
But,
think he was
but,
number one because I know it was a whole
was
deal
he the
about him
best
not
quarterback
wanting
in
to
that
go.
draft?
What'd you say?
I said, was he the best quarterback in that draft though?
Whoever was
Elway?
in that draft.
I would say this:
Was
none of the guys.
Marino
who-
in that draft with him?
I don't know, but I can
I
say
would
they have
say
to be
this: the
pretty
only
damn good to be better than.
if you went to the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now, I think one of them was a number one overall pick, and that's assuming that you agree that Joe Burrow is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in
I
the
was about to
NFL.
say who.
Nobody else was the top.
Yeah, I was trying to think who.
Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. If you want to say Dak is top 10, if you want to say Kirk Cousins is top 10, if you want to say Lamar Jackson is top 10, I know I'm missing some folks. Josh Allen.
Patrick
Josh Allen.
Mahomes.
He said
Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I
If you,
think
I
I
mean,
know
most
you
of the
said
top
Patrick Mahomes,
quarterbacks in
yeah.
the NFL were not number one overall picks. They were probably drafted probably, I don't know,
That's
probably
it.
like 4 or later.
They
They might be their
top 10.
team's number one pick, but they might not be
Bro, stop.
number
Hell
one.
no, but he
Stop.
ain't.
Yeah.
He
He
like
ain't even top
QB
20
6 on
probably.
his own. He ain't even QB 6. Listen, if you that bad with a team just say, hey,
I want to
listen,
say the only one that
we
I can
gonna
think
just
used to be
pick.
Peyton. I would say maybe Andrew Luck was probably the best quarterback in his draft.
He was.
Yeah.
But was
Out of a
That's
doubt.
what I can
he
think
was
of.
I couldn't remember if he went before RG3 or not.
Joe
Yeah.
Burrow, I would say, is gonna be the best
He
quarterback
was
in
number
his
one
draft.
overall.
Who was in his draft? Was
It
that
don't
the
matter.
Justin
They ain't
Herbert
better than
draft?
him.
Was that the Justin Herbert draft or no?
Who?
Yeah, they was in the same draft. That's a good one though.
Who?
But I would say if you got Joe Burrow number one, that's a win. Now, and I would say at this point in his career, even though you can argue who has a better supporting cast, because Joe Burrow has been to a Super Bowl, he's probably justified being a number one overall.
They won't even make the playoffs this year.
Who?
Damn.
Bengals.
Who ain't gonna make the playoffs?
Bengals.
I don't know
Man,
about
it's
that one.
crazy.
Guaranteed.
I told y'all about the Bengals last year. Before we even got to the I ain't gonna
They
say
won't
we.
make-
Before the Bengals got to the Super Bowl, I tried to tell y'all about it.
They will not make the playoffs.
We'll
Why
see.
would you say that?
Huh?
You
Why do you
still
have so
believe in
much
Lamar
confidence in
Jackson?
saying that?
Yes, they wouldn't have been in the playoffs if Lamar Jackson wouldn't even got hurt. I know Ips is a fifth, but yeah, they wasn't on track to make the playoffs before
So
Lamar
let me ask
Jackson
you
got
this:
hurt.
was they the 7th seed?
Huh?
Were they the 7th seed?
No, but they won the division.
So you're saying one player
They were
stopped
the
them from
number 2
making
seed,
any one of
wasn't
those 7 seeds?
What you say?
So they wouldn't even got a wild card. What you saying?
My stomach hurt.
Yeah.
You said they wouldn't never make the playoffs and Lamar Jackson when he got hurt. So you
Correct.
said that one man would stop them from even making a wild card.
Yeah. I mean,
Bro, they
Lamar
wouldn't have had a
Jackson
better
wasn't the
record
only
than
person that
Pittsburgh.
got hurt for the Ravens. What'd you say?
I disagree with that.
Man,
I said, you don't think
got
they
a
would have
wild
ended up
card
with a
that
better
week.
record than Pittsburgh, even if Lamar Jackson was healthy? Like they wouldn't have made the playoffs over Pittsburgh.
They
Did
would've made
They
it
had a
over
Pittsburgh make
better
the
record than
playoffs?
Pittsburgh. They had a better record than Pittsburgh.
They would have made it over the Colts, the Dogs. Wait.
Yeah, Coach didn't
Colts
make
didn't make it, my bad.
it.
They'd have made it over Pittsburgh.
I don't believe so.
Pittsburgh
Probably
ain't
over the
make the playoffs.
Chargers too.
Pittsburgh barely made it.
Pittsburgh
didn't make
Yeah,
it
yeah,
either.
you're right. I'm looking at that last
Pittsburgh made it
season.
because of that Chargers and Raiders
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Cincinnati still would have made it had Lamar Jackson been
But
playing.
anyway, like I said, they will not make the playoffs this year.
But I'm saying,
Hey,
why? That was my question. Why are you so confident in making that statement?
The Ravens will be better.
I say put a bet on it now.
The Ravens will be better. The Chargers will be better.
Mhm.
Ravens will be better. Chargers will be better. Chiefs will be better.
So
Denver
the
may
Bengals
or
won't be
may
better.
Huh?
That they won't get better. The Bengals won't get better.
Who? Bengals? No.
The Bengals.
Like I don't think they've improved enough. Like they've made these leaps that the other team had.
So go
Broncos,
look at their draft.
Raiders will be better. I don't know about Cleveland because I don't know if Deshaun Watson will play or not. That's the only thing.
Nothing
I say
about
put a
Lamar
bet on
Jackson
it
though. Like, huh?
I think the Ravens will be better
Oh, okay.
because they'll be healthier.
In theory.
Yeah, in theory, they'll be
Tennessee
a-
ain't going 12-5 though.
But Tennessee ain't in their division though.
But Tennessee had #1 overall thing, so they would. My guess Tennessee might not make the playoff this year. They go an extra spot right there.
No, then you slide the Colts in there.
The Colts ain't making the playoff, man.
Somebody got to win the division.
Yeah, somebody
So-
that ain't gonna be them. The
Cincinnati,
Colts got
You got the Texans.
so
Yeah, the Texans
Cincinnati
gonna win
worked
it all.
hard in this draft on fixing their defense. I see. They took a safety in the first, a cornerback in the second,
I think their
Defensive
defense was
tackle in
pretty
the
good last
third.
year.
safety in the fifth, and a defensive end in the seventh. They drafted a lot of defense. They drafted all defense except one pick.
The defense was pretty good last year. Their defense is what got them to the Super Bowl last year.
Well, you disrespectful to Joe Burrow.
I'm not
Hey,
disrespectful.
it's
I'm
Jamar
just telling
Chase.
you how I see it.
So we can put a gentleman's bet on it now.
I'm cool. I'm confident they not making playoffs.
We can put a gentleman bet on it. Well, I mean, it ain't gotta be financial. 'Cause we know you lose those finances. We can do things like burpees and push-ups and sit-ups.
You did one that you made one little piece of change.
All you gotta do is win. Hey, all it takes is 1 point.
Yeah, one
That's all
piece
that
of change.
matters. Hey, that's all that matters.
Awesome,
I
yikes.
say-
Let me ask you, do y'all think Deshaun Watson plays this year?
Yes.
Do I think the who?
Deshaun Watson plays this year.
You know what?
I say
I'm
yes.
gonna say
Yeah.
he's gonna miss quite a few games. I'm going to say because of what baseball did to Trevor Bauer, it's gonna be very hard for the NFL to give him a little pat on the back.
What did baseball end up doing
don't
to
think
Trevor
so.
Bauer? What was his,
Oh, and he,
They
They
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
that's
it
just
was
his,
only one
way
more.
They
to
threw the
transition.
hammer.
But I
They
say he
threw the
plays.
hammer.
He may not play the
I-
whole
what-
season, but he plays.
what
They
does
gave him
throwing
2
the
years,
hammer mean?
Tweety.
Damn.
300 and
From,
what they
from
say, 24
allegations from
games.
one woman,
324
Yeah, I think-
games.
I think he'll play this year, but
I think he'll
it's
miss
gonna
half
cost
the
him.
season.
It's gonna cost him probably at least half the season.
Yeah, I say he gonna miss half
Or
the
a quarter
season.
of the season.
He gonna miss 8 or 9 games since they got 17 games now that they actually play. I think he gonna miss
so
8 or
if
9 games.
If I don't know when they're gonna come out with the decision, but let's say they suspend him for eight games. Is Baker they starting quarterback week 1?
Not a chance.
I would say, well,
Not a chance.
I'm gonna say this. if he's on the roster, he'll be a starter. Deshaun don't
Of
play.
course. Of
I don't
course.
think he gonna be on the roster.
If Baker Mayfield is on that roster, and the chance he start,
Really? You think they're
Not
gonna
a
pay him
chance.
$19 million?
Hey, he said they gonna
keep.
keep Sean Johnson
Not
back
a
to Mayfield. You can be on the roster all you want. Don't show up to my damn locker room.
yeah,
Wow.
not a chance. And I only say, and it don't have nothing to do with
With
Baker,
his
with Baker Mayfield as a person. Don't have nothing to do with him as a player. It eliminates
business
any
decision.
sort of controversy
Yep.
whatsoever. Because you got to
It's a
think,
business decision.
if Deshaun Watson gets suspended by the NFL, it's already going to be a circus when he come back. It's already going to be a circus when he come back just based on what he's dealing with. This is a whole nother circus that they can eliminate and not have to deal with. On top of that, now, if you had a more professional guy, then maybe, you know what I'm saying, I can see them saying, okay, well, we'll let him play. But Baker Mayfield ain't showing himself to be like a professional guy where he'll like do what he's supposed to do and shut up.
And
So
then
now,
step
you
aside
know what I'm
when it's
saying?
time to.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
gonna be run. Well, I think I played well. Oh man, we don't have time for this. Bye. Just don't even come. We just rather lose. You know what I'm saying? Because he done shown himself to be that kind of guy who don't know how to just
Yeah.
play ball and either just get out there and say the right things or just say nothing. He talk too much and he say the wrong. I don't want to say he say the wrong things a lot of times, but he just talk too much. So I don't think he's starting unless somehow the NFL avoid this trade or something. It ain't no way Baker Mayfield plays for Cleveland next year, unless they said like, "Hey, Deshaun Watson ain't playing at all next year." And even still, then I wouldn't think that they would do it because then you got to understand, then you start having to answer these questions where if Baker play well, do you want to sign him to a long contract? Well, Deshaun Watson ain't played in 2 years.
I think I think if they suspend Deshaun Watson for a year and Baker plays well, and he plays for the Browns and plays well, I think that benefits the Browns a lot. Because I think that would make a team like want to trade for Baker Mayfield and say, oh, maybe it was just that he was hurt and he's actually a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, but they would have to sign him to a new contract in order for him to be tradable.
Yep, that's true.
And they don't have the salary cap to do that.
They can franchise that.
They probably don't have. I hope they don't have the salary cap to do that. But then if you franchise tag him, you don't. Why would a team trade for him when they can say, listen, you ain't gonna get value? I would say you ain't gonna get value for him, because if I'm a team, I'm gonna look like, well, listen, you are caught between a rock and a hard place. You got one guy coming back, you're gonna be paying $40 million, and you're gonna pay this. You got another guy who you don't want on your roster no more that you're gonna be paying $30 million.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna give you my backup kicker, Baker Mayfield, or watch you figure out, or watch you have to cut all these other talented players because you got a guy on your roster making $30-some-odd million that you have no intention whatsoever to not just not play, but you don't even want him coming to your buildings.
So, how many years left on his contract?
Should be the last
One.
one.
This is
They picked up his 5th year option.
Well, they don't have to worry about franchising. He played this year, keep him on the roster, then move from there. You just hold on to him until you find out what happened with Deshaun. I mean,
You can't, because this is last year.
and I'm
You
like,
either gotta
I'm like
sign him.
RJ.
you don't have to resign it right now.
Now
You
what I'm
still
saying,
gonna
but
have
I'm
him on
like,
your
Not right
roster
now.
for another year.
you gotta understand
Yeah.
who you're dealing with in this situation. Like, this is not somebody who's just gonna go out there and play football for a year, rebuild his resume, and move on. He gonna cause a problem walking out the door. Like, he's trying to cause a problem walking out the door now. He ain't even out the
Trying to
door.
force his way out, yeah.
Well, the way he was playing,
No. What I mean by him not being out
He
the door,
forced his way out with the way he was playing.
that
No
is
disrespect,
true.
Mr. Mayfield.
That is true, but I'm just talking about the whole letter to the Cleveland
Hey, y'all seen his
fans and,
statue?
all this other stuff, huh?
Hey, y'all
What's that?
seen his statue?
Are you sure that's him?
A statue of what?
It's a
A
football
statue of
player.
what?
Hold on now.
Where?
Wait. Don't disrespect
Oklahoma.
Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was a hell of a
In
college
front of
quarterback
where?
at
Oklahoma?
OU.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's understandable. He got a Heisman
Yeah.
trophy. Like, I get that.
Hey,
I got
He
y'all.
was a
I got
listen,
y'all.
no, regardless of what you think of him as a human or what he did in that field, that boy
He did
balled
his
out in
thing at
college.
OU. Yeah, he did his thing at OU. Like, you
Hey,
can't hate him.
hey,
You can't hate what he did in college.
Did they win the championship?
And he won a Heisman.
Did
They
he
didn't
win a
put a
chip?
team statue. They put a Baker Mayfield statue. That's an
Did he win a
individual
chip?
thing.
He
He
didn't win
was the
no
best
chip.
player.
He don't
He
deserve
was
no
the best
statue.
player in college football, according to the people who voted for college football. He was
Man,
the
they
best
also
player.
said that Johnny Football is the best player in college football.
Hey, and if A&M decides to put a statue of Johnny Football in front of them, that's
It'll
cool.
be warranted.
The
But
hell
if
it
the
would.
Cleveland Browns decide to put a statue of Johnny Football, we got a problem.
Hey, that
Man,
boy was a bad man in college.
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
bad.
You
All
gotta
right.
you gotta separate the college and the NFL, Dio. You gotta separate the college
They
and
ain't
the
got to do
NFL.
nothing. He a suck player, period.
In the NFL, yeah,
All right. Yeah,
you
I
know,
can't argue with the NFL point of it, but college,
Hey,
he caused a lot of problems to a lot of defenses in college.
he
hey,
wasn't
man,
Johnny Manziel wasn't bit for the NFL.
Y'all see that?
That's it. Oh,
Yeah.
that
We know
don't
that ain't Baker Mayfield.
that don't
like
look
Dope
like
Walker.
Baker Mayfield at all.
That look like Dope Walker.
Don't it?
And he went to smooth, didn't he?
Ain't no damn Johnny. Ain't no damn
Say,
Baker
that doesn't
Mayfield.
look like Baker Mayfield. If
That's
that's Baker
bad, bro.
Mayfield, then that's a bad
Yeah,
representation
that's
of Baker
bad,
Mayfield.
man. That's
They put
real
that
bad.
out there.
I gotta stand next to it like that.
He looked dumb.
That's bad, bro.
Oh man, that's a bad statue, bro.
Yeah, I would have told him, man, I'm going home. I'm not standing in front of this statue.
Boy, they made a
Unless,
statue of Paul Tagliabue.
yeah, I'd have been like, man, I'm going home. I'm not for this.
Bro.
This ain't.
Hey,
Because I
man,
definitely would have showed up and be like, who is that?
Can I ask y'all a question? How many
What's up?
statues y'all know of quarterbacks they got running the ball?
Cause shit, that's what he did best at OU. I'm just saying. I don't know. That's a bad. That's a bad statue, bro.
I'm guessing they
It's just a
represent the
bad overall
Heisman.
statue.
hey, Jerry Jones.
And it's like, and you
Awesome.
know, and it looked like they tried to remake the Heisman pose, but they really couldn't because they gonna get sued. So it's just like, you know what? We just gonna get as close as we can.
That's bad.
Bro, why his
bro.
That was
shoes look, why he
horrible.
look like his cleats look like they was made in the 1930s?
I told
Because
that
it's a
Jerry
bad
Jones,
statue.
and
That's
that's Burt
bad,
Bryant.
bro.
That's Burt Bryant.
Mm.
That's a bad statue, bro. Like Barry Switzer.
Hey, can we talk about the
Hey,
NIL before I
Look
go?
at the hairline. The hairline not even either close. That boy got a big old forehead. on
Yeah,
that
man,
statue.
that's a bad
It's just a
statue.
bad statue. Whoever did that, they need to get their money back from them folks. Man, that's a bad statue, dog.
I mean, it's a good statue. It's just not a Baker Mayfield.
Oh, and
If
that's
it's
what I'm
supposed
saying.
to look like Baker Mayfield,
If you was
it's
going for
not
Baker
good.
Mayfield, you did a bad job.
Yeah.
You did a
But
bad job.
but the statue look nice. It just don't look like
Hey.
Baker Mayfield.
They found a mechanic drinking a 6-pack somewhere around the corner and paid him to do it.
Yeah, man, I know this definitely ain't the dude making the bus for the for Canada.
For the Hall of Fame.
Speaking of weird, bro, I think I'm gonna put that on my list. I think I'm gonna go this summer.
Go to Canton.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay.
Kind of expensive, but I mean it's like
I'm not
$40
going
to
to
get
the-
in there.
I'm not going to
How much?
put-
I think it's like $40. I could be wrong, but I want to go. I want to take my kids.
Malcolm
what you
finna
think
tell y'all
about
why
it?
he'll never Malcolm finna tell y'all why he ain't gonna never visit the Hall of Fame. You ain't going until they put who in?
Pete Rose in. I'm boycotting all of them.
Oh, baseball. You talking about baseball.
Nah, I'm boycotting all of them until they put Pete Rose in.
Well, I guess you ain't going nobody Hall of Fame. I don't know why. I don't think
What's
baseball
next
gonna
on the
never put
docket?
old Pete Rose in that thing.
Hey, can we talk the NIL real quick?
What you
Wait,
got?
You seem like you got something on your chest.
No,
Yeah, what you
I
got?
just want. So I don't know. I know Dio said he been kind of out of the loop lately. The last week, I don't know if you've been in the loop, but it's been a lot going on with naming, imaging, and likeness rights with these college athletes over the last. I mean, you've been hearing it's been a lot going on last year, but really it's come up a lot in the last
Here
roughly
recently.
like 2 weeks, especially this
Yeah.
last 7 to 10 days, because what is the thing that kind of like blew it up to a whole nother level where people seem to start to whine about it a little bit more was a guard from Kansas State, Nigel Pack. Had a really good season for Kansas State. I can't remember if Bruce Rebel retired or he resigned. I don't remember. But anyways, the Kansas State coach is no longer there. So
Right.
Nigel Pack put his name in the transfer portal, going to Miami. Now, when he went to Miami, some guy who's a billionaire, whose name I do not remember, he went to Miami, announced that Nigel Pack was going to Miami, if my understanding is correctly. He also announced that Nigel Pack was getting a 2-year, $800,000 NIL agreement with Life Wallet, I believe is the name of the company, as well as being able to use a car for that 2-year time frame. Now, with not too long after that, Isaiah Wong, who plays for Miami, was on the Elite 8 team that made it to the Elite 8 team. A guy who represents the person who represents him as his agent for his NIL stuff came out and said that if Wong does not get if they don't renegotiate his deal, his NIL deal, he was going to put his name in the transfer portal, right?
Okay.
And so that kind of like, let off all of this stuff. And this was within, like I said, last 2 weeks. People starting to say, it's the people they paying for play and all that. Then you got the cat that's out of, I believe it's Pittsburgh, and I do not remember this young man's name. Say that again.
Jordan Addison.
Is the wide receiver, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is mentioning that he's potentially going to transfer to.
I think he gone.
Oh, he did already transfer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So where?
USC. That's right. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently
he already got a deal over there.
That's what being reported, that he was leaving because he could make more money, more NIL money at USC than he could at Pittsburgh. And then now you got all these people saying, see, this is what we told you would happen. Colleges are starting to basically purchase players, if you will, with these NIL, with this NIL stuff. Just curious as to y'all's thoughts on how do you think it's legitimately having an impact on college sports in terms of, one, getting high school guys in and coming to these programs, and two, the transfer portal, which seems like to be like in basketball anyways, hey, it's popping like a crack house on the first.
I would like. I'm gonna let them go, but I just want to say.
No, go ahead, Malcolm.
No, I just want to say a quick statement. It's cool that they getting their money, but I don't want to hear another Mike Gundy. If this is how it's gonna go, I don't want to hear another press conference like Mike Gundy's when reporters or whoever not attacking kids, but like criticizing them, right? Because now they're getting paid to play these sports. That's all.
Wait. They don't get paid by the universities.
At all.
I got you, but they're getting. You can say they're getting paid for their talent, though.
Are they just getting paid for their name, image, and their likeness?
Yeah, but if you ain't no good, ain't nobody paying you for your name, image, or likeness.
I mean, I would have to disagree with that because I've seen some female basketball players that I'm sure y'all never heard of that have NIL deals.
Are you saying they bums?
I'm not saying that they're bums. I'm just telling you, I know y'all never heard of, and they came off the bench. So I mean, you can however you want to make that whether you think they're a bum or not. I'm just telling you, they didn't have no big names.
Yeah.
Well,
Y'all can go.
like
Y'all can
I
go
said,
take some.
I've been out the loop, but this is just my thoughts on the whole thing to begin with. I'm 50-50 on the NIL deal to begin with. I do think the schools should be paying their kids since they especially ones who make so much money for them. They need to get something, but I'm not necessarily with everybody being able to jump in and out of the transfer portal like that. I think you're hampering these kids by letting them make those decisions by saying, oh, because you're not happy in this place, or you can leave and go somewhere else. No, you made a decision. Stick with it. That's just my opinion on it. If you said you're gonna go there because you think that's where you want to be, okay, I think. Let me rephrase that. Not forcing them to stay there the whole time, but you should at least have to stay there for at least 2 years. At least 2 years. You made a decision. You got at some point you got to grow up. Stop being a kid. If I go somewhere and I tell this coach I'm finna play there, and I get there and now I'm not happy because whatever reason, oh, I'm finna leave. Nah, bro, it's not how it's supposed to go. Because
Well,
then
what about if you go somewhere and you don't like your job? Don't you leave?
I'm also making an adult decision. If I'm signing a contract with somewhere, I can't just up and leave. Same thing with the military. You think when we signed up to join the army, I got the basic training, was like, no, I don't like this. I want to leave.
But that's different. You signed for 4 years or whatever the minimum, generally contracts are minimum.
What they doing when they go to college. They signing for 4 years. Now, does the school honor
Nah, actually not. I'm being honest.
Those
year to year.
Basically year by year.
Those are year to year. Yeah.
Right. Well, are you signing it every year?
Yes, you really do have to re-sign that every year.
Okay. Well, I give y'all that. I never signed a 4-year scholarship to go play no big school. I never did this. So
yeah, you wouldn't good enough. We know it, Dio. I tried to tell you and tweeted that.
But I was better than you. That's all that matters. All that matters. I can say that much. I was better than you.
You a lie, Dio. You don't even look, Dio. Listen, I just seen a bunch of posts on YouTube said you didn't say that with conviction.
They can say what they want, bro. They can say they want. You can say what they want. I know. I can say this. My senior year coming out, I got offensive MVP. So that means I was doing something. I can say that much. I was honorable mention all state. I can say that much.
And we didn't talk about the.
I don't even want to comment.
Nah, but
I
said my deal on it. It's up to you. I'm interested in it, but I know Malcolm ready to move on from there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go back and forth LJ over that.
As far as the NIL deal.
We ain't need to rehash all that, man.
Oh shit. As far as the NIL deal, bro, I'm cool with it. I know a lot of people gonna get upset about kids jumping in and out of the transfer portal, and I understand where you're coming from, Dios, when you say you make a decision, you should show some sort of commitment to your decision, stick with it. But I'm just gonna be honest, that's not even what's happening in the professional side of these sports. Like, they go somewhere, they don't like what they're doing, and they force their way out. Like, that's I know what you're saying.
I
if
don't
you
agree with that
don't,
either.
but and I agree, but that's exactly how that business is being done today. So if you're
Mhm.
talking about where these kids might be, they might get that example from that, and it's a lot easier for them to jump into a transfer portal than it is for an NBA player to get out of a bad contract or get out of a contract from a team he don't want to be under. So it's like, all right, cool. The coach that let's say if a coach was at a school and he don't like his recruiting class, he can up and jump and catch another job. Like he
I
can
don't agree with that
definitely do
either.
that. But he can't. He's always been able to do that. Oh shit.
That Wyoming.
Yeah, that's why he finna go through all his college letters. That's why I said,
At
oh shit.
Oklahoma State.
At Oklahoma State. I just seen Cowboy. My bad. My bad.
What that
But
mean?
The fact that
it's
you
going
still
in and
got
out. It's blending in with the mountains in the background too. I don't know how you going.
Let's say
The
at the
fact-
bottom, we want you to be a cowboy. I'm just joking around, man. I don't care about none of that
It's
stuff.
probably not
I'm-
even his.
but
That's
that-
probably
that-
his sons. It's probably his
Like I
sons.
said, that the NIL stuff is
That's
pretty much
disrespectful.
that is kind of that's messed up.
Hey,
Nah,
Tweet,
I
hold
don't
up,
have a
hold
problem
up,
with
before
it.
you go real quick. I know we said we're not gonna do that, but come on. How fast did he find that damn piece of paper?
Bro, I'm in my office.
You got it.
I can
I
say
have
he probably
no
got
idea.
all his letters in his
I
office.
have no
LJ,
idea where mine's are.
LJ, what year you graduated high school?
2000.
2000. So 22 years ago, that paper still that crisp and that white?
Yeah, look at the date on it, Dion.
I can't see that.
Can't see
I
it.
don't know why you can't.
It's blurry. That's why.
It
How the
it
hell
get
you
blurred
stop
out. It's part of your background, so it'll get blurred out. Like it won't show up like your face. Whatever that
So-
filter, it's the
Oh, I
filter.
know what it is. Okay.
He would have made that up. It's okay.
What did it say? That say 1999. And,
Yeah,
and it don't
yeah.
really matter. Who was the head coach back then? Oh, that's defensive coordinator. He looking for a shutdown corner.
Yeah. Lord, that face shut that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Nah,
They wanted you to come
No.
be a trainer.
No, you know
Nah.
why you got to
Shut
have
down
them?
corner.
I mean, y'all kids young. Y'all kids
Nah,
young. But sometimes you got
agree.
to pull out. You got to pull out your receipts for your children, man. They think you be lying. I'm just saying.
So
Sometimes you got to pull them
your
receipts
kids
for
getting
your kids.
on you. Your kids
Yeah,
giving you,
yeah,
Dad,
they
you
think you be
can't,
lying.
you
You
can't
just be
do this,
lying.
you
Hold
couldn't
on.
do that.
You know, be lying.
I guess I didn't
that's
think
why
I didn't
they
think
be.
that
I
far
mean,
ahead.
and really,
I
they
Nah,
in
but-
here really because this is my office. That's one of the
Nah,
other
but
reasons I'm in my office.
Tweety, do you
I
have
don't
any
really
of your
have,
letters?
I don't really have an issue with it though, Malcolm. I
We didn't
think
get no letter.
I honestly think it's gonna be good for the bigger schools. I mean, yeah, it's one of those. I mean, what they say, the rich get richer. Like, yeah, I can't help it that my market, if I'm a school in LA or if I'm a school in Miami or wherever, New York, it might help out some New York schools. I don't know, but I can't help it that my market can offer me more than a Wyoming market or than Boise State market. I can't help that. So if it's a car dealership over here that's making twice as much as the best car dealership in your state, and he want to offer my kid this, I'm not. That's not coming from a university. I can't stop that. So hey, I can't help my market. So it will benefit the USC's, UCLA, maybe even Texas might jump back on the board. Who knows? I don't know. But I think the big schools will benefit, but small
I will
schools
say
just
this.
don't have to.
I ain't complaining because we was giving kids goddamn bands and money in McDonald's bags. Now we can legally give it to them. So I ain't tripping.
I was saying people been getting paid. Yeah, I was saying kids been getting paid.
I like the NIL, man. I like the cats being able to cash in. Some folks use the receiver from Clemson as a good example. John Ross, I think that's his name. It was real good his first year. And then he was pretty good his second year. Then he got hurt. He had that neck injury. And then, he didn't even get drafted. Yeah, he didn't even get drafted.
So now he got a little money in his pocket.
No, he ain't get
Oh,
no
he
NIL.
didn't get the NIL. He didn't get the NIL.
He probably did.
He came too early. He was.
Oh,
he graduated
because
too
he
early.
was
Damn. Okay.
I mean,
okay.
do I think the rich will get richer? I would say no.
No, you don't think
because-
so? Okay.
Nah, because look at it. Like, okay, how many times in the last 10 years has Alabama had a top 10 recruiting class?
Yeah.
Or top 5? Hell, probably
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah,
I
can say damn near every year.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So
So
how
they
are they
are,
going to
so
get
they already been rich. They can't get
right?
rich.
So how are they going to get richer? Same
Right. I
thing
feel
is
you on
like
that. I feel you on that.
USC. Okay, NIL was good last year, right? I look at it like this, right? If your program is not good, the chances of you starting to consistently bring in top talent
It's
because you can
still not
get
gonna be
great
good.
NIL
Yeah.
deals is not high.
I
Because
feel
at the
you
end
on
of the
that.
day, these kids that are top tier talents in high school, or generally speaking, they're not just gonna go to a place that's gonna say, "Hey, well, I'm gonna go to University of Hawaii because they
But
can give me $1 million NIL deal." Well,
I
is
said before you finish.
Hawaii gonna
Oh,
help you
good.
prepare to be if they're gonna give you the best chance to go to the NFL? No, but I can make $1 million
Right.
right now. You know what I'm saying? So I
And,
don't now
I
what
think
it
you will
may
see some
help
of
you
that.
in
I think you will
is
see
when you
some of
get
that.
into those when you get into like a guy who's like a top tier talent and he's trying to decide maybe between a Clemson, Alabama, or now I'm assuming that USC is about to, come back to prominence now that they have Lincoln Riley. If he's deciding between those three schools, where you can say you probably have a pretty fairly equal opportunity to get to the pros, even though I don't think Clemson had a player drafted yesterday, or maybe they
I
only
know
had
Texas
two.
didn't.
Yeah,
The number was really
Clemson
low.
has some. Clemson has some players, right?
But if you decide between those three schools where they're Clemson and Alabama have a great history of getting players in the draft, or even the LSU, stuff like that, then yeah, maybe an NIL will be the difference. And maybe there may be
Mhm.
some kids who will be able to get, the NIL may be the difference. But I think overall the rich aren't going to get richer. It's just going to be simply you're going to see maybe more kids go to certain schools, or maybe what you'll see is the transfer portal. As long as they have this 1 year, a guy say like the kid we were talking about from Pittsburgh, he has an outstanding year at Pittsburgh, and he say, well, hell, I can go to USC or Alabama or whatever and play next year, and I can make a bunch of more money in the NIL. I'll
And
just
help his
go over
draft
there.
stock.
But I said, I guess what I meant about rich getting richer, I guess you're right about that because ain't no way Alabama gonna get rich. I feel you on that. But I was thinking maybe more like schools that kind of fell off, but pro football programs are still to be somewhat well respected, like a Texas or USC, somebody like that who got big markets, who got big money, but pro football programs that done kind of fell off that used to be considered prominent. That's what I
I
meant.
think
But you're right about
USC.
Alabama.
I think USC was on there, was, in my opinion, I'm going to say
They
Lincoln
was on their way
Riley
back
was
up.
going to bring them back.
Okay, I feel you on that. And
Texas,
I got a
but
question
I
for
give,
this
I
all
understand what
y'all.
you're saying about Texas though, because they got some big time boosters, big time program. But
Matthew
you
McConaughey.
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
are you gonna want to go down the thing? Again, this is just me. The way I
Of
look
what
at it
Texas
is,
got going. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
if one of
yeah.
my boys was in that situation and I had to decide between Alabama in the Texas, and Texas UIL deal was higher, but you say, well, my son is going to be able to come in and play right away at both schools. He probably
I
has a
might
better
still
chance of
choose
going
Alabama.
pro, and you can take a little
Yeah,
bit less money to go to Alabama.
Aren't they already talking
yeah.
about firing Sarkisian already?
I don't know.
Texas,
I
wouldn't
told you
doubt it.
last year they shouldn't have hired him. No
I say wouldn't
disrespect to
doubt
Steve
it.
Sarkisian.
But now I got a
I think I
question for
said
I
they should have
guess
brought back Mac Brown.
yeah, you did say that. Guess I got a question for all y'all. Do y'all think this NIL thing, as far as the top notch talent, is gonna affect maybe football more than basketball, since basketball got that new thing with the G League, and then you can always go overseas and get money. Like it's a lot of other avenues already, or at least a few other avenues already in basketball for a kid to get paid instead of going to college. But football really didn't have that. So do you think like I guess when I say the top tier talent, like college, I mean basketball players, they always had the ones that elite might get drafted, could be drafted out of high school, but they might go to that G League team or whatever. I forgot what the name of the program is, but
G League
yeah,
Elite.
yeah, that, and then you got overseas
Oh,
teams that can
Ignite.
pay
I'm
a kid
sorry.
fresh out of high school or whatever. But I know football has never really had a situation where their top-notch players had another avenue besides going to college first. So NIL, I think, do y'all think that's going to affect more football programs than basketball programs, or do you think it's going to be like the equal effect on college sports all around?
I would say it would potentially impact more basketball programs because one, a lot of kids come out of high school. More kids come out of high school now as basketball players that have a following than football players. Because
True.
basketball players, a lot of these kids play in AAU and these travel leagues, EYBL, et cetera, and there's stuff all over Instagram and all that with these kids doing all this kind of stuff. So and you saw the kid Mikey Williams. I want to say he
Right.
signed some kind of deal with Puma. I don't think he doesn't have his own shoe, but you don't really hear about football players in that lane as you do in
Right.
basketball players, because basketball players are playing year round basically, and their names are splashed all over the media. The other reason I think it could impact basketball more is as a basketball player, if you play Division I and you're really good, there's less talk, generally speaking, about your competition level than there seems to be at the college football level. Like
I see what you
Malik
mean. You could be
Willis,
a
he
good
played at
player at Weber
Liberty.
State. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
I see
is
what you mean.
Liberty
Yeah.
Division I. I assume it is.
They Division I, yeah, but they like a list almost a small, less than a mid-major. But I know what you mean. They are
Right,
They are
but
Division
versus
I.
like when John Moran came out of college from Murray State, there was really
Yeah,
no
yeah,
question of like,
yeah.
well, is the talent there based on that kind of thing. It was like, this kid is legit. You don't really see that as much in college basketball.
Yeah.
So a
Because
guy can go to he can be the guy at Georgia like Anthony Edwards was, or the guy at whatever school at Murray State like a John Morant was, and still get his NIL money. Hell, that guy at
I agree.
Wichita State was about to leave, and then they announced some kind of NIL deal or something, and then all of a sudden he bite.
Okay.
I said
I
like
I
Plies,
see where
man,
you're
he
coming
bite.
from. I can see where you're coming from because they really already do have a somewhat of a following. I agree with you on that. That's all I was wondering.
Yeah, I don't think it affect because I just think like the eligibility rules to be in professional sports and basketball and football are so different.
Right.
So,
that's why I asked the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Like even if no matter how good you are in football,
you can't go.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, you can't go. And that's why I was asking about the program affection, because basketball players, top-notch basketball players, besides NIL, they got ways to go get paid besides going to college already. Like they can go play overseas. They can go whatever we just said, the G League.
They can work on their craft or whatever for a year, but like in football,
like I said, but if they need money, so to speak, like they don't have to worry about an NIL deal because they can go overseas and get a couple $1 million, or they can go to the if they're good enough, they can go to the G League elite team and make $1 million or something like that. So
I don't know the eligibility requirements for the XFL and what's the other one now?
Oh yeah, USFL. Okay, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I don't.
You're right about that. I don't know that either. But I'm you're right, because those are brand new, and XFL is gonna start back up next year.
Next year, yeah. So I don't know if you have to be 21, 22, or whatever to be able to play in those games.
What's NFL? 3 years removed from high school or something like that.
3 years removed from high school.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, see, and that could be a big deal too in the future if those leagues can sustain themselves and stick around. As far as like not like attracting top football talent, but maybe that kid that was like maybe a third or fourth round, maybe even a fifth rounder, or projected to be that, and play in spring and then up, get his draft stock up. But other than that, I still don't see those leagues as potential top talent grabbers from the NFL, or because I think the difference is, I think these basketball leagues, even the other leagues that's worldwide, like they obviously have some sort of communication with the NBA because they draft players out of these other leagues across the world all the time. So it's like everything is still tied into the NBA, whereas in football, these other leagues and stuff really are popping up as competition for the NFL. They're not really development.
Do you think that'll be their downfall?
It's always their downfall. It's always these leagues' downfall. The fact that even if you're not on at the same time as NFL, you're not in bed with the NFL. It's like you it's like these other basketball organizations, even leagues, like I said, even leagues across the world, I think they understand if I want my star to realize his full potential, I gotta get in the bed with the NBA.
Who getting in the bed with somebody? Wait, hold on. Tweety, turn this gonna be a come on, show you gonna get freaky, man.
Man. You get on with that. Now, but that's what I'm saying. Cause like I think that's gonna be the XFL problem. I think it's gonna be the USFL problem. That at the end of the day, they're not trying to develop to go with the NFL. They are trying to be competition for the NFL, and I think that's the difference. It's gonna be a downfall for them. I think that's why those leagues don't stick around. So it don't become valuable options for top talent to go make money early, even if they can say you can come in straight out of high school. Like, I don't think it's gonna be that.
Let's wrap this up. One last thing I ask y'all. Will Steve Nash be the head coach for the Brooklyn Nets next year?
I thought Steve Nash would have been fired by now, to be honest with you.
You think so?
I thought he would have.
I'm gonna say yeah, because
I thought it wasn't no way he was coming back. Clearly, I'm wrong. And that ain't no. I'm not knocking Steve Nash. I'm just looking at the pattern of how it generally goes in the NBA.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You underachieve.
What's this his second year?
I know that.
Huh?
Is this his second or third? Was this his second or third year?
Third.
Yeah, generally speaking, you underachieve for 3 years straight. They don't even, you don't see a lot of getting, breaks getting cut for injuries and all that. It's generally be like, you underachieved for 3 years straight, you gone. I mean, because regardless of how you might have, like, with the talent, when you have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, I'm not sure you can get a pass for getting swept.
No, you don't.
That's just my thing.
I'm sorry, you don't.
You can say Kyrie played half of the season and all that, and to
me,
you cannot use that. You cannot use that as an excuse because your organization decided that was okay.
Yep,
and that they would allow that, and that you as a team
he could play half the season, did he? Because he wasn't playing road games at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he wasn't playing at all at the beginning of the season. So yeah, he didn't even play half of the game. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think you cannot use that as you should not use that as an excuse as an organization because you allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
And, I mean, well, excuse me. It wasn't your decision for Kyrie not to get vaccinated. But what you allow Kyrie to do once the NBA and these different states and all that decided, had made their, hey, these are our policies. Once that came out, how you decided to handle it as an organization is how you decided to handle it. And you live with the Tweety, got a football belt on? I'm gonna say
I mean that's what
grown man belt.
Technically it is a football belt, but it came with the shorts. That's how they.
Yeah, I know, Tweety. I'm just giving you a hard time, man. I know.
Hey, I seen that too. I'm like, damn, that's a football belt. But yeah, go ahead.
That ain't no. Yeah.
That was a Big T special if I've ever seen one. That's a Big T special.
Mac, we don't know nothing about no Big T. Boy, stop that. Stop that.
Yeah, man.
What you talking about?
I would. Me personally, I'm surprised that I will be surprised if Steve Nash came back just based on the general pattern of how coaches tend to get let go in the NBA. Now, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving said they wanted. I know Kevin Durant said that he wanted him to come back.
Kyrie said he had a discussion with the rest of the management staff.
Yeah. Kyrie. Man, listen.
Bro, I like Kyrie Irving, bro. He is pure entertainment, bro. Kyrie is pure entertainment. If nothing else,
what you say, DL?
Y'all gotta leave Uncle Drew alone, man. He the dude.
Hey, listen.
I told you, Kyrie is pure entertainment.
Some of the comments he made that I put in the group chat is about y'all.
You know what he said?
It is about disparaging black folks and indigenous peoples and all that. He talking about y'all.
He ain't talking about me.
Yeah, he damn sure was talking about you. You part of the media. He talking about you, Dio.
Ain't part of the media.
Oh shit!
Dio.
He said, "Yeah, talking about you."
Yeah, Dio, he talking about you.
Hey, bro, I don't talk bad about
shit.
him.
Ah,
I talk bad about Jason Whitlock and Kenton Perkins, though.
Yeah, he was talking about you.
Nah, he ain't talking about me, bro. I
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
Kyrie
But you got to get Jason Whitlock, bro. Like, what Jason Whitlock do to you?
do a never mind. Do a coon, man.
Dang.
I don't like
That was
Whitlock.
how
Strong
you really
word,
feel.
strong word.
On that note.
I don't like Whitlock.
Right, yes, that's strong words right there, man.
On that note, I
Nah, man, that's what's
we
up.
got to end it on that one, so we start
Oh,
getting in trouble.
did y'all? I
Go
know
ahead.
y'all probably already talked about this if y'all haven't already, but I had caught a fight on ESPN last night.
Chris Stevenson?
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, he
Miss,
dominated.
I forgot he was fighting.
Hey, he went
dominated.
hard, bro. He went
So,
hard.
so
He
this
went
is the
hard.
thing. I like. Okay, Shakur Stevenson dominated, but I don't think he should have.
Honestly, bro, you're right. He dominated, but I think
Because Oscar Valdez went through a fucking
yeah,
punch.
Valdez is good. I've seen Valdez fight, and when I seen him fight last night, he started out like he normally do. And it's like every time I'm gonna say by mid round, it didn't matter if it was the first round or the last round that he fought. It's like middle of the round, he just kind of
Stop throwing
lose what he
punches.
was doing, and he don't come forward. And Stevenson just bop, 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 bop.
But I
was
will
like,
say, their referee gave Shakur Stevenson a lot of warnings for holding that his
bro,
punch.
I promise you, I was watching the fight with Derek. I was like, bro, how many times the referee gonna tell him to stop doing it before he, actually take a point away?
And he never took a point from him.
And the only time he actually really, really, really warned him was like
He gave
towards
him
the
that
end
hard
of the
warning.
fight.
Yeah. And he did it
I'm
again
like-
after that.
I'm
And he
like,
did it again
right
after that.
literally right after that, like 2 or 3 seconds, he did it. Good, stop, don't hold it out. I'm like, ref, you just gave him a hard warning. That's supposed to be a point. And I didn't have a dog in the fight, but I honestly thought it was a good fight. I thought it was a good, entertaining fight. But I also think that Valdez kind of got a little scared after he felt a few of those punches. Every round, he just stopped coming forward.
What's crazy
And he just
like
stayed
it
in-
wasn't
just
hurting
stayed
him,
in
bro.
range.
It looked like it wasn't
Who?
hurting him. It like when
Valdez got a hard head, bro.
No, I'm saying, but like to your point, you said like he was like he didn't want to walk into those punches, but like bro,
Right.
it didn't look like it was affecting you at all.
It didn't, because even the knockdown didn't look like a
That
real
wasn't.
knockdown.
I mean, it was a knockdown technically.
He gave it to him, but I'm
Yeah.
like you.
He
The
tripped.
punch, like even like when he swung, he slipped on his foot,
Yeah,
and then when he tried to
tripped.
get his balance,
He hit
Stevens hit him on his
Yeah.
arm pretty much, and he knocked him off balance again, and his knee hit the mat. So yeah, it's a knockdown because he made contact and his knee hit the mat.
And
But
then
when
like
you see it live, I was like, "Ooh, we got him!"
nah,
And then
when
I
he
seen the
seen it,
replay, I was
saw
like,
it. I saw it live.
"Oh, he hit him on his arm."
Even when they was talking about
Hey, man.
Stevenson was hitting those clean shots, like when they showing the replays at the end, there's a lot of it was hitting his shoulder and then rubbing to his face,
yeah.
and then rubbing to his face and stuff. Like he really wasn't hitting him clean.
And that cut, that I think it opened up like
I don't
the
even know how he
56
got cut.
round.
What is it?
That
Did he
cut,
go to the
I
ceiling?
do.
Yeah.
I seen the punch that he got cut. It was a jab followed, like when Stevenson hit him with that jab and then hit boom, hit him with a real quick right hook. He hit him with one of those right hooks real flush, and it just blow. And you seen the little cut out there. But I was bringing it up to say it never got worse. Like it was.
Yeah, that cut man did a hell of a job, didn't he?
Boy, I'm talking about it. I would like it closed back up a little bit. I was like, hey,
Yeah, that cut man
that's
did a
that
hell of a
video
job on
game
that one.
shit. I said, boy, he good. But now I just think Valdez, he could have did better if he would have just kept
Absolutely.
his same tempo from the first minute and a half through the last minute and a half. Because he come
Stevenson
in with
wasn't trying to fight with
combinations
him
and
until the
everything.
end.
Then afterwards, he'll just stop. And I'm like, bro, you finna all that work you did the first minute and a
Yeah,
half,
wait.
2 minutes. You finna
Wait.
throw it away because you finna stand right in front of this dude and stay in his range, and he just finna pop, 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 pop. I'm like, damn. Because it got ugly after a while. It got ugly. It got ugly on.
Hey, how
point.
did you feel about the
It
end?
didn't.
Say that?
Funny.
Like
I
what
laughed.
Shakur
I
Stevenson
laughed,
did?
bro. I laughed. I ain't gonna lie. I laughed my ass off, bro. Because like the last 15, 20 seconds, He literally just backed around the ring, showing off, and he flexing his muscles, everything, bro. The fight's still going on though.
I don't like that.
And Valdez chasing him around. That was made funny to me, bro.
I kind of wish Valdez would have caught him with a right. And just
believe me,
ended
I was
his
hoping
ass.
for that. I was hoping for that. And
Hey,
especially
say,
that
catch
last like
Biffy
3 or 4 seconds. Dios, bro. Dude standing with his back to him, like flexing his muscles.
Yeah.
And he just so happened to turn his head a little bit and scoot out the way while Valdez tried to knock him out. I was
Yeah.
like, bro, Valdez chased this nigga around the ring like 20 seconds straight and couldn't hit him. And he just dancing and laughing and flexing and showing off. A lot of people probably ain't gonna like it because they gonna call him a show off. He shouldn't have did that during the fight. Me personally, I'm like, look, I want to see the
You
show.
thought when he kept looking at the time like this.
Yeah, he was looking like fight over with. Either look, I'm like this. Either you want the man to show off, or you want him to keep whooping that man ass like he been doing the whole fight. A lot of fans gonna say I want him to keep whooping his ass. That man say shit. I'm
Because
through.
that's the thing.
I don't prove the point.
Like
I'm
that,
through.
no. So here's the thing: two problems boxing have versus UFC, I should say.
One, they
Problem
don't have a
number-
governing body.
Yeah, problem number one. Now, this wasn't the case last night, but problem number one is best on best never fight.
Never?
That's hardly.
Unless they're under the same promotion.
No, if they're under different promotions, like hardly ever they fight each other.
Now what I'm saying, only way they fight is if they under the same promotion. Like that's
Yeah.
the way that's the only way you're gonna get them to fight. Like you can guarantee that the best gonna fight if they under the same promotion.
Yeah. So hardly the best
I
on
don't even
best
know
hardly
if
ever
it's
fight.
But okay, go ahead.
When the last time? Okay, bro. It's
No, I'm
taking,
saying,
and this ain't even
disagree with the same
it ain't even
promotion,
official
they
yet, but
know,
it's
like,
taking
keep those
7
fights
years for
away.
Spence and Crawford to fight.
Well, you know why they not fighting.
They not under the same promotion.
It ain't that they not under the same promotion, it's that one's under one that really don't want to see that happen.
Exactly.
They under the same. They not under the same promotion. Like because if
I
they
think-
was,
You know what I'm saying?
we
I
wouldn't
say
have
that
this issue.
meaning
Okay.
if they was under the same promotion, I don't think they would put them against each other if they was under the same promotion. You don't, because right now, because you gotta look at it like this. Both of them cash cow. When one of them take a loss, that number's gonna dip.
That's my point.
If I can keep them at the
That's my
undefeated
point.
top
They
of the
never
game for the
fight.
That's why
longest,
Malcolm
I
said the
can't.
best on the best don't fight. Like the
Right.
UFC,
I
but the
agree.
UFC
That's
gonna be
what I
like, I
agree
got
with
a
it
title
sometimes.
fighter and a number one contender, or I got
Yeah.
2 title fighters. We finna fight.
Yeah.
I don't care if your name take a hit or not. You better defend your name. You better go out there and win.
Yeah.
And that's what Malcolm said is a problem. That he said that is, and I think that is a problem because I don't know how it was back in the day. I don't know, but I do know that it seemed like you got a lot of the best on the best fights. I don't know if it was still promotion on promotion. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, you always got the best fighters against them. I don't know. But
I
we
think
do
back
have a
then-
lot of go ahead.
You didn't get some. I would say even back then, I don't think you got some of the best fights till later on. You never got them. Most of the time, you didn't get them while they was in their super primes.
No.
Not all the time.
I want to say I'm not even gonna make no I just know
I mean,
you
Leonard,
do
Leonard
have
versus Hearn. Leonard
we
versus
got-
Hearn was
we
in
got-
his prime.
who?
Leonard versus Hearn.
And that's why I was going to go. I said that's really the only time you can really just think of. That's
Nah,
really
What
the
about
only time.
Ali and
Ran-
Frazier? Was they both past their prime? Ali and Frazier?
They wasn't at the top of their
George
game.
might have been. George
They
might
weren't
have
at the
been.
top of their game. They wasn't in their primes.
But you
What
got
about?
to-
Well, I know Ali and Foreman. Ali was way past his prime. I know that.
Even if you even go to our eras, like Tyson Holyfield was past. They wasn't at the top
Yeah,
of
they
their
were
game.
past that. But that's because Tyson went to jail.
That's Tyson. Yeah, that's Tyson.
Well,
fault.
he did.
No, but I
That's
feel you
Tyson
though.
fault.
I feel you. I'm
That's
just fucking
Tyson
with
fault.
you, Dio. I feel you.
That's
I
Tyson.
feel you.
fault.
No,
Okay,
I'm just fucking.
nothing to
I
say.
feel you, and that's why I said I wasn't gonna go back and say that. But
Yeah.
I will. Only thing I'm gonna say about those back in the day fights is that when you talk about some of the best names, you do have at least 2 or 3 fights with those names. Now, if they was in their prime or not, if it was past their prime or not, like you say, it still might be too late for them to fight. Like the fans might have felt like back then it was too late for them to fight. Who knows? I wasn't alive back then. I'm not.
I'll put it to you this way. The perfect example: Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo.
I'm gonna say Pacquiao.
Wait,
But go ahead.
No. I know what you mean, but let me
Oh, okay,
finish.
okay.
Floyd
Uh-huh.
fought Canelo when he was very young. When Canelo was very young,
Yeah, Canelo was young. Yeah,
Before Floyd retired, Canelo was ready, and they didn't fight again.
and like I say, I guess Floyd say, I'm gonna catch you in
What?
my prime and you young
Yeah,
versus
yeah,
catching you while you in your prime and I'm
yeah,
old. Like
exactly,
I feel you.
exactly.
But and like I said, and that is, I think that's one of the biggest problems that boxing
Because I
has.
will
And
say,
not the
Canelo would
fact
have tore
that,
his ass up.
yeah, not the fact that the best don't always fight the
Everybody
best,
say
but I think it's the fact that they don't have a governing body to manage each bout
Yeah,
like under
exactly,
one umbrella.
exactly,
It's like it's
exactly.
about 6 different belts in each weight
Yep,
class, and
yep.
it's like, damn, well, who's the champ? Like nobody is really the champ unless they be able to make a fight with everybody that got a
A
belt
unification
and they
fight,
beat
which
them.
hardly ever happens.
And them hard to ever. And I think, matter of fact, the fight with the what was the lightweight? What was the light heavyweight? I mean, lightweight or junior lightweight last fight. With the Stevenson them kid, that was junior
Mhm.
lightweight. They said that was only the 6th ever unification fight ever in that division ever. Like that's ridiculous. Like I don't know how long that division been around as far as a junior lightweight, but if it's been around longer than 20, 30 years, why you only got ever like I'm gonna say 50 years because 20, 30 years, that's a good ratio. But if it's been around just as long as boxing, why you only had 6 unification title fights? Like that's
it
crazy.
could be because like the fight before you supposed to get it, somebody get the belt took. The belts might change hands fast.
But even
I believe
then,
that.
in UFC, now that person's gonna fight the other person.
I feel like now your number one contender got to fight the new
Yeah,
title holder. I
yeah.
feel you. I feel you. Well, I guess like and like I said, that's the difference between having a governing body versus
Mhm.
having a bunch of different promotional platforms.
But
Like,
it makes
go
no
ahead, go ahead.
sense that it makes no sense. Say we get the fight, it ain't official. It ain't nowhere close to being official.
I don't
But
think
say
it's
we
happening.
get,
But it'll
but say
happen.
we, but say
I
we
think
get
it
the
happened though.
Spence. If it happens, it's happening this year. Because Terry Crawford said he ain't getting no tune-up fights. So
Terrence already said. Didn't he already say he wanted to fight now?
no, he said he don't want no tune-up fight.
Who that?
Terrence Crawford.
So
But say we
basically,
get
you're
that
not
fight.
fighting no more this year. You're not fighting no more.
Tell me this makes sense. Tell me if this makes sense. Spence has 3 belts. Crawford has 1 in the same division. That don't make any sense.
Yep.
In the same damn division. But
Shit
they'll
happens.
fight. They'll fight November. I think they'll fight
You got
November.
WBC, which is what he just won. You got the IBF.
IBF.
What else is there?
And WHO or something like that.
The hell is that?
Oh man, that's what I mean right there. We trying to decide how many titles it is in a certain weight class. Who got these titles? Who's over these titles? I'm like, really? There's like, okay, Malcolm. There's like college football having 3 national champions. You got a BCS national champion. You got a pole national champion. You got a coaches pole national champion.
So Spence got the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF.
Right. And what does Crawford got?
I don't know.
Because I know he got at least 1. If that's not all he got, I know he got at least 1. Then you got fans talking about who should get the bigger split in the purse and all that. Now, you know.
WBO maybe? That might be what he had.
Who?
WBO.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. But hold up. They said he at one point in time Crawford had all 4 of them.
Spence lost them when he got in the wreck.
They
They were vacant.
Yeah, and I wonder why Crawford lost them.
He had to go get it from Danny Garcia. He had to go get it from Danny Garcia.
You said they said Crawford had them all?
Crawford had all 4 of them at one point.
I don't know about all that, but
well, Crawford undefeated, ain't he?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's what I'm saying.
Unless he like went up the weight class to have a fight and vacated the title and he lost it. But that's probably the only thing I can think since he's still undefeated.
Just think about
he
this,
lost
bro.
the title.
Think about this. Crawford was born in 87. Spence was born in 90. They should have fought 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, so they came up around the same
I think
time. They
after-
should
Well,
have.
no,
Spence-
Crawford has more professional fights than Spence. He turned pro first.
I think after Spence fought
Shit,
Kell Brook,
you s-
after Spence fought Kell Brook, they should fought.
yeah, I say because I think last night the fight total was 19-30. Like I think that Stevenson kid on was like 19-0. And Valdez last night was 30-0. It's like, yeah, bro, that's a big difference in professional fights. Like, as long as we on the same level, let's get it in. If you only had 10 fights, but they putting your ass on this level, let's fight. Let's see if you read about that life.
See, so this article from the player's bio, even Google said it, like Terrence Crawford is the first male boxer to simultaneously hold all 4 major world titles in boxing.
Might not have been
WBA,
in this
WBC,
class though.
IBF,
It might not
and
have been in this weight
WBO.
class. Couldn't have been in this weight
Y'all
class.
wonder what class he was in.
Okay. And the picture I'm looking at show him with 5 belts.
Yeah, but it probably wasn't welterweight though.
Yeah, you got a point. Okay.
Anyway, yes, Spence said he
But
wanted
yeah,
his
fellas.
next fight. He wanted to be with Earl Spence.
Fellas, I
And I'm
think I'm
telling
about
y'all
to get
now,
on
it
the
would not be in
block here, fellas.
Dallas.
Oh no, yeah, that fight won't be in Dallas at all. That's a Vegas fight. That is definitely a Vegas fight. I
You
wish
see
it was
what-
in Dallas though, just so I can see all these idiots act the fool. I'm going to the fight. I'm getting put out next month. Hey, what'd you get? You shouldn't have spent your rent money on a fight ticket.
Oh,
But you,
matter of fact, I will say this: if it was in Dallas,
you was
100%,
going.
100%, I'm going. If it's anywhere, in
Honestly, I ain't
America,
gonna lie. If that
Dallas.
fight was in Dallas, I was gonna go back. Man, I'd
Listen.
have been like, shit. Well, I'm going to that one.
uh,
I was gonna go to that one. if it was
anywhere else in
Dallas.
America, I'm 99.9% sure I'm going.
I would do your thing. I
He
can't
said he
say
go-
that part.
He going regardless.
He going regardless.
I can
That's
say
what it
this.
sound like to me.
If I don't hit the lottery and it ain't in Dallas, I ain't going.
I can tell you, all right, Dios, we on the same page, brother.
If that bug is not in Dallas,
I think it. I think it.
Everybody ain't got that car money like Malcolm, man. Everybody ain't got that good money like Malcolm.
It is. I think it's either gonna
we
be
were
in
talking
Vegas
before,
or
before we
LA.
went live. I'm going broke now.
Oh damn.
Yeah, that's your fault.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get no sympathy from me on that one.
All right.
It's your fault.
All right, fellas, man. I'm about to get up off of here, man.
I don't need sympathy, but it'll be okay.
I see y'all, man. I'm
Good
about to get up out of
house.
here.
All right.